What a matchup. What a great spectacle we saw between Nigeria and Congo DRC. What I like is like in my previous video talking about this match right after Nigeria went through to the final against Gabon, I did say this match was going to be probably the most balanced match out there. And as a neutral, somebody who came into this match just wanting to watch a decent game of football, African football, a firefight, I got exactly what I wanted. You know, like the way Nigeria plays, that fluid football we saw in the first half, they were passing it around. They scored early. The 3rd minute, Onyeka manages to get that ball in the back of the net after Taunzebe's flick goes right in, in his path. And yeah, beautiful goal. It was great. And I thought Nigeria were in so much control at that moment. Osimhen was looking beautiful. He was looking great. He was like getting balls on his head, basically being a menace up front there. I just thought a lot of things were going really well for you guys, for Nigeria. But in as much as that was happening, I did not see Congo DR. I always say Congo DRC because they are our neighbors, Zambia, Congo DRC. Those are our, we are related, basically. Those guys did not look phased. They knew they had a whole 90 minutes to play, and they were just saying, you know what, we are going to bide our time, we're going to pass it around, we're going to get there. I thought Wan-Bissaka was immense today. I thought Mbemba was great. I thought they did really well. All those positions, the midfield was fantastic. Halftime comes, in 32nd minute, they get that goal. And that goal, is this Sanusi you had on the left defense? I thought he struggled there to contain the attack coming from that side. Bassi was having to be dragged across to help. And at that point, when the ball was taken off Bassi, it was one of those situations where he came across to help because Sanusi was not in that position. He let his man go because his position wasn't great anyway. So he let his man go, and then the cross went in. And honestly, it was a beautiful goal from Elia to get it to 1-1. And I thought, wow, great game. We're going to see a lot more goals. And we didn't get goals, but we got the excitement. As a neutral, it was really I was glued to the screen. Halftime comes, I'm like, where's Osimhen? Where is Osimhen? Because we have got used to it. I mean, some of the games we saw, he didn't play. But, in this match where you are chasing that one spot for Africa in the Intercontinentals, you need the best striker, one of the best strikers in the world playing. He seems to have picked up an injury. He could not play, was on the sidelines trying to help out things, but it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working. And you have to wonder, no, people are not wondering, I guess, but I would have to wonder if I was Nigerian, if those were my Zambian players. I'm thinking on Tuesday, you guys should have been thinking about what you were going to do when you hit, when one of your players, your most important players was not playing. But yeah, it really, really doesn't pay off. Striking at such a crucial moment doesn't pay off. I have heard the players are crying in the dressing room. I suggest you go and cash your checks and get on with it, because to be honest, for me, that was not the move, in my opinion. But that is not what caused the loss today. It's just, like when you add 1 and 1 together, it becomes 2 and it doesn't look good in this case. I thought I picked up a point sort of like late in the first half. Ademola Lookman wasn't strong enough in some positions, he was going for goal and he was pushed off the ball easily by Taunzebe, who I think had quite a instrumental game through the game. I mean, I think he missed one of his penalties at the end, but he was quite instrumental. And Waneli at some point, Nwabali rather, at some points, he was struggling as well. He was getting exposed. And I'm telling you, it's because Bassi was having to go and help out Sanusi on the side. He honestly, he was struggling, he was getting exposed too much, was causing people a lot of issues. I was checking social media and people were like, oh my gosh, Nwabali is killing me. He had a great penalty save attempts, though, at the end. And also near the end of the game, he had a fantastic save, which was a cross came in, a header came in, and he literally just palmed it out of the goal. It was going in, but they looked exhausted today at the end of that extra time. But yeah, Osimhen was an area threat throughout. Benjamin, I keep calling him Franklin. Benjamin Frederick did a great job. He did a great job for most of the game, not all of the game, because he was being put through the ringer today. You know, he was being put through the ringer, and that boy, I was thinking, this guy, yeah, leave him. 70 minutes is enough. He's only 20. He has done a great job for you. You need to give him a rest. But I think he was the best option in that sort of position, in the right back position. And he did a great job, but you know, he was playing against them. They were really exploiting him, especially when it went to extra time. He was exhausted. They doubled up on him, like attacking him, moving the ball about. He couldn't cover his winger and the attacking midfielder at the same time. And, you know, they went behind him quite a few times. Somehow things worked. Bassi was sensational in that play. He was doing everyone's job at some point in that game, I thought, from what I was seeing. But also another thing I thought Congo were being very clever. Congo DR, they were being very clever because there were some points where they were under threat and under pressure, and anytime they came near a Nigeria player, they were dropping to the ground. We saw goals, you know, so they were taking advantage of everything to slow the game down at some points to get the advantage. There were penalty shouts as well, which there was one penalty shout I thought Congo could easily have got, but the ref was like, no, it was a barge. Ademola Lookman, I think it was, was it Ademola? I don't know. Somebody went and barged into like the Congolese striker, and he was like, what do you mean it's not a penalty? It could have been, but then again, you don't want to spoil a game like this by handing out penalties. It wasn't even like, you know, it could have been, but it was great. It was lucky that Nigeria did not concede that as a penalty, because anyway, in the end, sort of the end justified the means. But in the second half, without Osimhen there to have that threat up front, there was nobody sort of like for the transitional plays. You know, you transition into nothing. Defense goes in, midfield, Iwobi making great passes, doing all sorts of great things. There's nobody up front to pass the ball into. You cross the ball. Adams didn't have the same threat as Osimhen, and I think they lost a lot of spark, Nigeria. But Congo DRC started turning the screws, man. They started turning the screws and they were being successful. They were very successful. It was good to see because it wasn't one way, but it was both ways, with Congo looking more threatening. At some point, I said, Congo are going to pay for this. Because you're having so much success, you're going past the midfield, defensive midfield. They're being rescued by the keeper or by the defense, and you're not scoring. You're going to pay for this. But in the end, Nigeria held their own, but they just could not sort of turn that extra gear. You know, at this point, these guys have been running crazy. They've been running mad. They played 90 minutes in the other game at a high tempo against Gabon. They did a great job. And then a few days later, was it Thursday? Today is, you know, and then Sunday. Today's Sunday. And to be honest, I think they were tired. Nigeria, they ran out of ideas. They didn't have their talisman up front. And at about 60 minutes, I wasn't sure because I thought Congo DR were wasting chances. I thought Nigeria were doing enough to. I'm so used to Nigeria winning from these positions, even when they're not doing things sort of as expected. I'm used to them like something out of the hat, a great goal from nowhere. It just wasn't to be because, like I said in my preview, Congo DRC have got the same ability as Nigeria. They might not have the same mindset and the same fight, in my opinion, but they have got the same talent. They use the same academies. They play in the same leagues as half the Nigerian team. So it was always going to be a tough match for Nigeria. They play similarly. It was a 50-50 game and it was similar, and Congo were just like, every time Nigeria were threatening, they were like, yeah. And Congo in the second half were the better team, hands down. Hands down, the moves they were making, they were so impressive. And that pitch, that stadium, before I continue, sublime. Sublime. That is the kind of infrastructure we need in the rest of Africa. I hated the way the fans were behaving, throwing bottles on the pitch to try and distract the players, especially the Nigerian players in the penalties got affected. A bottle was thrown. It ended up just distracting the Congolese keeper. Is it Falulu? Falulu, who came in, especially for the penalty shootout, and it paid off massively. But Nwabali, hands down, that guy, yeah, I know he irritates people. Goalkeeping is sometimes a thankless job. It's very difficult. I don't think I could do it. When you are in the middle of the field, I think you can hide a lot of your mistakes compared to when you're facing a ball coming at you at 50 miles an hour. But he did a great job in the end, because he saved 3 penalties. Was it 2? 3 penalties he saved. He did a great job. Wan-Bissaka, like I said, immense. Nigeria overused Frederick. Benjamin Frederick was overused because he looked exhausted. That young boy, he is a baby. You need to be kinder. You need to have mercy on them. You need to protect them. Imagine if you're taken. What was the benefit of keeping him in the end in a losing team like that? Bring him off, put someone else with a bit more experience, maybe. Let them carry that weight. I mean, I know Nigerians, this is just going to motivate you to go and do crazy madness at the African Nations Cup in December. I can't wait to watch it with you, because you, Nigeria, have been my greatest supporters since I've opened this page only a few months ago. You have been amazing. You have supported me. You have told me off. You've called me biased. You said I hate your team, despite me supporting you half the time. I love Nigeria. I want Nigeria to go through, because you know what? You guys bring everything. But I had reservations in the early qualifiers with the structure of your team, the motivation, having too many people who probably, and I made a huge mistake. I said fake Africans, horrible mistake. I shouldn't have said that. I accept it. But that cultural element, these Fredericks, but the people you brought in, honestly, the Iwobis, Chukwueze, all these guys who Ebasi, Iwobi, all these players who have, and even like Trusekong, all these players who have had the best training in the world. They've grown up in Europe or in the Americas, like the women's team and stuff. Great individual performances. They can come in. Sometimes when you have 1 or 2, it can be disjointed, but you guys do really well. But I think it's going to cost you at the African Nations Cup, because there, the rules don't count the same. The passion is different. But I still think your team will do well, even in the next World Cup, if you continue this strategy, because of the way you play. It's so fluid. But it probably is jarring when you play some very African type of football, where, it's aggression first. But I digress. I went off script, but these players we brought in, they have added something, but they have also taken out something. I can guarantee you that. So like I was saying, Frederick looked very tired, and also he wasn't executing his defensive duties as diligently as he was before. And this Sipenga guy who came on that left wing where he was defending ate him up several times, but in the second half of extra time, because he was exhausted, he was tired, he had done such a great job and he needed a rest. And grand scheme of things, overall, love this boy. I think he is one to watch. But and then of course Nwabali as well, who came under quite a bit of slack. saved you at the end of extra time, where he cleared a header off Mbemba, came off, he cleared it out of goal, and then it led you into the penalty shootout, which I thought was, if I was Nigerian, I'd have died. Because something's happened to my hair. The first shot from Bassi, the first penalty from Bassi, skies it. And I'm like, this is it. They are cooked. Nothing's going to happen. They're done. I didn't realize the nervousness. You know, both these teams are so similar, and they all had the same nervousness. And I think being a neutral ground as well caused this. So Bassi skies it. Musasami gets his penalty saved. Nwabali saved. Awesome. Moses Simon, I'm like, oh, he's a pro. Penalty saved. Sadiki, Congolese, scores. Adams scores. Taunzebe gets a penalty saved, and is crazy. And then Onyamachi, who came on, scores past Falulu. Mayele scores, the number 22 scores, Nguisha scores. So they were like now getting more confident. The penalties were looking good. They were looking more professional. But it was too late, because it's sudden death. And then Mbemba steps up. He's looking good. He's looking like Captain Fantastic. He's like, I've got this, guys. And he took a perfect penalty. It was beautiful. Hard, fast, past Nwabali. And it was devastation for Nigeria. Devastation for a lot of fans. We all wanted to see Nigeria at least go a step further, because honestly, if you had gone to the Inter-Continental playoffs, a huge chance that you're going to go through because of the kind of competition you would have faced. I think with the way Nigeria, most of your players are professionals on the continent. I think you might struggle the most with South American sides, but European sides, I think the chance that you would qualify past them would be a lot better. So that was it. But yeah, so the game ended penalties, and Congo DRC took the bull by the horns in the end. They put up a great fight. Nigeria tried their best. They definitely missed the second half of Osimhen. Definitely missed it. It means we are not going to be seeing you in the World Cup in next summer in the US, Canada, and Mexico. But you know where we're going to be seeing you? We're going to be seeing you in Nigeria in December for the African Nations Cup. And I know for a fact it's going to be a great event. Thank you so much for listening to my post matches. Thank you so much for taking your time to comment on them and tell me off and love me. You know, I absolutely have enjoyed putting the spotlight on Nigeria. I have enjoyed criticizing them, speaking my truth, giving my opinions on their matches, because you know what, they give everything. You support you're the fans. Hands down, you are some of the best fans in the world. You're very challenging. You don't like anyone messing with your team, do you? You don't like it. But yeah, you know, as commentators, we need to give our opinions on decisions, and that's just the way it is. But continue to do that, you know, challenge us to be more vigilant and more observant. In the meantime, I would really appreciate it if you took your time to like the page, follow, maybe turn on your notifications. I do Premier League content. I'm an Arsenal fan, so I do Arsenal content. And I complain about everything against Arsenal. I do hate narratives on Liverpool because I'm jealous of them, Manchester City and everybody else. So yeah, I try to get out as much as I can. It's a very new page, but you guys are keeping me going. So thank you so much for all your support so far. I really appreciate it. And please do not forget to like and subscribe, like I said. My name is Daliso, and I will be talking to you guys very soon. And good luck in the future for Nigeria. And then, of course, Congo. Absolutely sensational performance. Good luck for the next round in the FIFA Intercontinental playoffs. I will be there to watch it, and then we can do this thing again. Right. Talk soon. Bye-bye.